We're going to start off with the ANC Youth League because it's elected a new leadership at its national conference in Johannesburg. Colin Malachi is the new president of the ANC Youth League.
He was elected unopposed. Let's listen back to that moment.
The 26th National Conference president is Comrade Colin Malachi, elected unopposed. Can I officially declare your deputy president, Comrade Phumzile Mgcina? Allow me to then officially announce Comrade Mtwaxolo Ngudle as the Secretary General. For the position of the first Deputy General Secretary, I officially declare Comrade Tsakani Shibiti as the first Deputy General Secretary. For the position of the second DSG, comrades, let me officially declare Comrade Olga Siate as the second Deputy Secretary. And lastly, comrades, for the position of the Treasurer General, let me officially declare Comrade Zwelo Masilela as the TG.
While political analyst Robone Tao says that the ANC has been rushing the league's conference.
A very interesting congress of the ANC Youth League. And the reason why I say that you have those who were nominated from the floor declining. And that must show that something is brewing, because you must remember before this nomination, there was a letter that was leaked, that was written by 7 NTT members to the steering committee, questioning the credibility of this Congress. When I read that letter, it reminds me of Morogoro Conference in 1969, when Chris Hani and the other 7, which they call them a group of 8, wrote a letter to the ANC, raising a lot of things. This might actually be a turning point with this letter, and people actually declining to accept or to legitimize a process, you know, where, as they say in the letter, that this process has been flawed, raising that even Xola was appointed by the NWC of the ANC. Why is it that why is it that the Secretary General of the ANC has actually removed him, raising the issue of that the threshold of Congress they did not meet. But what was interesting, when they came back from their lunch, I was speaking to some of the delegates, just trying to understand in terms of the closed session, what is happening. And one of the things that was raised by some of the delegates that I spoke to was that they adopted rules, they didn't adopt the program. The credentials, there was an omission on the credentials as Mtumanana presented, but then said to them, let's just adopt. We'll sort out the technicalities of the numbers. So there was a lot of rush by the ANC to have this Congress elect today. And the reason being, they only have tomorrow. Literally, they've not done anything. They've not presented the organizational report. They've not presented the treasury report. They still have to go to commissions. They have to close Congress tomorrow because I don't think that the ANC's got capacity or appetite to keep the delegates any longer than tomorrow in Gauteng.
At the same time, eNCA's Moloko Moloto was in Nasrec and spoke to ANC NEC member Mduduzi Manana.
I'm very happy. It took almost a decade for us to get here. We've had task teams after task team. And we are happy as the ANC that we now have a fully fledged structure of the ANC Youth League, which will really organize and mobilize young people to rally behind the banner and vision of the ANC. But there's been a vacuum. You know, the ANC is a leader of society, and so we believe that when we have a youth league, then they take up the role to lead young people in society. And so we felt the vacuum as the ANC, and we are very delighted today that we have the Youth League, which is not now in control. That is not under the control of the ANC.
Yeah, you say as the ANC you are happy, but there are some members of the ANC Youth League, particularly some of them were serving in this dissolved interim structure. Sisophila Mkhize specifically, who spoke to us earlier, expressing her unhappiness, using strong language to say that this is thievery, these people are stealing a Congress, decrying the processes, saying some of the delegates had not been accredited. Can you take us through how the challenges that you have had to deal with to resolve, and has everybody in that particular plenary expressed satisfaction to a point that they said, let's all proceed?
Indeed, the overwhelming majority of delegates were happy with our processes. Of course, these processes did not come without challenges. There were challenges, but no conference is ever perfect. But we tried our best to deliver a more credible conference. We followed all organizational processes. The National Youth Task Team was appointed by the ANC. And so the running of this conference had to be understood within that context, that it's the ANC that is convening this Congress, this 26th National Congress of the ANC Youth League, working together with the NYTT. And we would have told them when we reconfigured, or rather when we first appointed them and reconfigured them later, that they lost their autonomy when they were disbanded, and they will reclaim their autonomy when they are elected at a national congress. Now they've reclaimed their autonomy. They will run their own affairs, and the ANC will not meddle or interfere. We had to meddle because many a times they were at loggerheads as a team, and they could not really project themselves as the leader of young people in society as we would want them to be.
Let's talk about the amendments that I am told were agreed to even before the election of this top six. One of them that I am told is that you have increased, or Congress has agreed to increase the term of office of the ANC Youth League NEC from 3 years to 4 years. What informs that, but also what informs the decision to add the position Second Deputy Secretary General, the same way the mother body did in December?
Truly, when we reconfigured the NYTT, we put together structures, and we said, even though we are still running the affairs of the Youth League until they get to Congress, but we still gave them some bit of allowance to run committees, and there was a policy committee headed by the now elected SG, Comrade Mdokolo Ngudle, that was looking at all these policy positions that they would want conference to adopt. So it's their proposals. They would have drafted the documents, sent them down to the branches. The branches interacted with these policy proposals, and eventually those proposals won the day at conference. So it is really they know better why they would want to increase their term to 4 years, and why they would want to add a second DSG, maybe to strengthen the organization, or have other tasks being performed by a second DSG who will be full-time. We don't know, but it's their process. They ran that process, and we welcome their processes because, after all, they are autonomous.